So good morning. It is just after sunup and I'm in Gordonsville, Tennessee, where I spent the night at this lovely Quality Inn and got a little bit of sleep. And I'm on my way to Greenville, South Carolina to deliver this trailer, and the address I have is an office building in town. So I'm gonna have to be calling these people and asking them where do they want this trailer, because I doubt that they're gonna want it at the office building in town. So there's some disconnect between the address I have and where the place is, because I'm supposed to be delivering it to a farm, and a farm is not an office building in town. Clearly. I've had this on very many of the direct customer deliveries that I've done. Almost all of them have some problem with the address. I don't know, people are not that careful, I guess. Sorry about that, about getting this stuff sorted out and given to me properly. I've also got a problem with the trailer. Not a big deal, a little problem. It's a PJ trailer, and I owned a PJ trailer once upon a time, a 40-footer. And I had problems with that trailer the whole time I had it, but I never had this particular problem. When I left yesterday, after I picked it up, I left out of Missouri with it, and I stopped about 40 miles down the road at the first rest area to stop and check the lug nuts on the wheels, which is something I do. I check them when I pick it up, and I check them again down the roadways just to make sure that nothing's coming loose and everything's staying together. And I noticed when I stopped to check the lugs that the marker light on the passenger side was gone. Just gone out of the frame of the trailer. And it's a pretty good sized side marker light with the amber glass. It's just gone. So it was either not installed correctly and it fell out, which is probably what happened, or the hole that it fits in was too big for the light assembly they stuck in there, and it never seated and it fell out. So one of the two. It either wasn't put in correctly or the hole was too big. So I have to call today. I debated all day what to do about this, because I'm responsible for the trailer, but that was something that I could not have foreseen. When I checked it over at the lot, the light was in place and it was functioning. I don't put my hand on them and touch them to make sure they're not going to fall out. I've never had this happen before, and I've hauled, I don't know, probably 1,000 or 2,000 trailers, no exaggeration. I've never seen this happen. So I'm going to have to call. I decided my course of action is to call the place I picked it up and let them know what happened, and ask them to see if they could procure a replacement light for it and send it out to these people so that they have a light on their brand new trailer that they just paid for, and keep their customers happy, because that's the whole point, right? And they can source a light to fit it. I can't. I don't have the time to shop around and try and find, or the ability while pulling a 26-foot trailer to pull in at some of these stores to where I would have to go to buy a light. So they're going to have to take care of that for these people, and then I can let these people know that yes, they're aware and they're taking care of it, and then these people will be happy too. So eliminate the problem for the customer before I even get there. So that's what I'm going to try to do later this morning when the store in Missouri opens. They're not even open yet. Nobody's open yet. It's just barely 6 o'clock. So, yeah. So I woke up at pretty much 5 o'clock this morning. Couldn't get back to sleep, and I thought, well, hell, I'll just get up and get ready and go. So I did, got my shower, got all ready. And I'm still just like, ugh. But at least my headache's gone. I had a headache yesterday from the weather. There's a storm front out west of here. I was following a storm front yesterday, and there's one behind me today, and it was giving me a pretty decent headache. So I dealt with that all day long, which was kind of miserable. But I'm feeling better today, so we'll see how it goes. And I've got 314 miles to go. It's a long damn way to South Carolina from the western border of Mississippi or of Missouri. It's a long way. So it's about a 900-mile trip. So I didn't make it quite 2/3 of the way. Well, just about, almost 2/3 of the way. I've got 313 miles to go from here. So, yeah, that's how it's going. And I'll flip this camera around here in a minute and let you see the country I'm going through. So I'm east of Nashville, probably about 40 miles. And I'm glad I got through Nashville last night. It was bad enough coming through there last night because of the crazy-ass drivers, but I managed to get through there without hitting any stoppages, which was nice. And I was talking to Bill on the phone driving through there, and he pulled up the highway cameras and he could see me go by. He likes to do that. It's really funny. He'll go, "Oh, there you are, I see you." And then he'll describe the trailer I'm pulling, you know. It's kind of funny. I like that. I like that he cares enough to go look, you know what I mean? We're getting into some pretty serious hills now. I don't know where the Appalachians start, but we're getting into some pretty good hills. There's actually some kind of what I would call small mountains is what we're in right now. So I'll flip this around for you if I can do this. Try and get set up decent so you can see what's going on here. There we go. And no, I'm not running 70 miles an hour. I'm running around 65 going uphill. And we're getting closer to 70 going down. I'm not pushing it because I'm trying to conserve fuel a little bit. I don't have to floorboard it the whole way there, you know. Let's see, 300 miles at 50 miles an hour, that'd be, what, 6 hours? So I'll probably get there somewhere around 5 hours. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So let's just say before noon. And noon would be great. 1 o'clock would be great. I'm not in a hurry because, you know, like I say, I've got to confirm the delivery location before I get too far along in this. Because something's not right with that. It's just, something's just not right. I think I know what it is. I think it's south of Greenville. I think, because there was something about Tyler in that. Tyler, South Carolina. But there's a Tyler's Crossroads in that region. And I'm guessing that's probably where this is actually going. So I'll have to confirm that and then call and get this light thing taken care of by the shipper. So and I hope they don't dock me for it. I would be pissed if they did because that was not anything I could control. You know, I had no idea. I've never ever had a light fall off of a trailer, ever. Just friggin' fall off. Leave the wiring dangling there. So I wound the wire up because it was long gone. I mean, it probably fell out when I went out their driveway. I don't know. couldn't have been very far because I wasn't that far away at the first rest area to stop and check the lugs again, stop and recheck them. But I've never seen a light do that. So, and I'm sure it was on there when I picked it up because I walked around and looked at the lights. I would have noticed if it hadn't been there. I'm very sure. So, they may find it laying out in the street outside their place. Who knows? So I wound up the wire and stuck a little piece of tape on it to hold it inside the frame so it doesn't fall out and get beat up, so it's not flopping in the breeze. So it's secured in there. Okay, this is going to be one of these deals where the camera doesn't want to sit. Maybe that'll do it. We'll see. Anyway, this is really pretty country. I mean, it's nice and hilly, lots of trees. If you like hills and so many trees that you can't see the forest, or vice versa, then you'd probably like this country. To me, I don't understand how people ever settled here with it being, I mean, these hills, these mountains are steep. The whole Appalachian range, they're just like straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down. They're not hugely tall mountains, but they're completely timbered. And it's just, I don't know how you would ever get through them or travel in this area, you know, before roads. Those people were tough. They could hike up and down over these kind of hills, you know, far enough to completely move and homestead somewhere, carrying everything they needed on their back, you know. That's pretty, that's pretty impressive. Pretty damn impressive. I think anyway. Good grade on this hill here. Pretty steep. Go ahead and get around this old boy. He's got a load on. It's slowing him down pretty good. This is kind of like going over Eisenhower Tunnel up on I-70. Similar feeling grade. It's just about that steep. Of course, the elevation's a hell of a lot lower. But steep is steep, whether it's high or low. So our next big town we'll come to is Knoxville. And I don't like Knoxville very much. And then I'll go to Asheville. And from Asheville south to Greenville, I guess, is kind of the plan. I looked at it last night before I conked out. Just to kind of get an idea. Then I tried to look up the delivery location, but I was putting in the address from memory because I didn't have my paperwork in the motel room with me. And sure enough, I was correct. And I kept looking at that thinking, this is not where a trailer needs to be delivered to an office building. So I'll get a clarification on that later today. Watermelons already? Holy cow. I mean, it's April. We won't have watermelons in Oklahoma till July. June, July. Huh. It's great. So I stopped and filled up my fuel yesterday, and I had to pay a premium because I was up in Kentucky where I was running short enough that I had to do it, had to buy fuel. So it's $4.25 a gallon. When I got to Nashville, it was $3.49. This is typical. This is kind of how it goes. It's a crapshoot. You know, every state's got their own taxes, and I didn't want to buy fuel in Illinois because I thought it was going to be too expensive there, and it was, but Kentucky was even higher, much to my chagrin. But, you know, what do you do? At least by the interstate it was. I think there were places off the interstate where it would have been better. Now I'm going to get jammed up here because I've got trucks coming up behind me. Maybe I can slip in here, get around this guy. Look at the wheels on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 5 freaking axles under that truck. Is that a crane or something? I guess that's a crane. It's crazy. I wonder how much that thing weighs. Oh my gosh. 5 axles under such a short body too. Wow. Impressive. So we're going to be going, I think I have to cross through the Smoky Mountains, the Great Smoky Mountains. Pretty sure. I think when we get to Asheville, if I remember correctly, I've been through there once a long time ago. Me and my sister came out here to get one of her kids, and or to go get the property that belonged to one of her kids or something. I don't remember exactly the details. It doesn't matter. But we came out here and we were driving my sister's Jeep and pulling a little trailer that Bill had made, and we still have that trailer. It's our favorite little junk trailer. But we hauled this trailer out with her Jeep to put the kids' stuff in. And then we're going to take it home. Well, the transmission went out on her Jeep on the side of the road on the east side of Knoxville, which was a real shitty deal. I mean, it just went out. And we had to call a tow truck, and the tow truck guy put the Jeep up on his tow truck, and he tightened it down by strapping over the axle or something. He bent the axle on that Jeep. He ruined it. So he ended up, he wanted to fix it. He was like, oh, I can fix that. And Cindy was like, no, we're going to take it to the Jeep dealer here in Knoxville. So he had to haul it over there, and he was pissed off. And I think that's why he bent the axle on it. It was intentional. It's the reason I don't like Knoxville. So here we are on the side of the road with a trailer that we can't use. So it went with the Jeep on the tow truck. And we were vehicle-less, so I had to get a ride with this cranky tow truck guy to the airport to rent a car, because that's the only place you could rent a freaking car in Knoxville, was at the damn airport. So, and I can't remember, I think he took Cindy and the Jeep both to the dealership, or somebody gave me a ride to the airport, and I rented a truck and went and picked Cindy up. I think. I don't even remember all the details. It's been that long. but oh my gosh. Yeah, so I don't like Knoxville for that reason. But we went through Knoxville, and then once we got in the rental car, then we went on down. Of course, we couldn't get all the kids' stuff because we had just a rental car, so we stuffed everything in there we could get for her. And I think we had her with us too, pretty sure. There were like 3 of us. But we went from Knoxville down to Greenville, or not to Greenville, we went to Fayetteville, North Carolina. But we went down through Asheville, which is the whole point of where I'm going with this whole story. Because I don't give a crap about Knoxville. But when we got to Asheville, it was like Asheville's up on the side of the mountains, and then all of a sudden you descend down onto the plain below, and it's a very extreme elevation difference between where Asheville sits and then where the coastal plain is down below. It's pretty dramatic. And that's my memory of it. Now, whether or not my memory is accurate, I have no idea. I'm fixing to find out. Put it that way. In about another 100 miles or so, 150 miles maybe, I guess I'll find out. There's a truck stop. Diesel's $3.94 here. Well, it can't be as bad as it was up in Kentucky. That's the most I paid for fuel in a while. Kind of pissed me off having to do it. It cost me $175 to fill this truck up, and I paid $30 more than I would have had to have paid in Nashville. So that wasn't any good. But I had no choice. I was running low on fuel. You know, that's the thing, not having an auxiliary tank. Sometimes you just have to pony up. Now, I could have put in a little bit of fuel and then held out for getting more later, but I'm glad I didn't, because traffic was, you know, Nashville. I'm glad I didn't have to mess with anything there, like stopping and trying to find a fuel stop. So I just came on through. So I mean, it'll even out. It always does. It'll average out. And I haven't decided which way I'm going to go back yet. That's up in the air. It's kind of a question, big question mark. I may take the southern route back, just because I'll be, well, I don't know. Greenville is one of those places that it's hard to get in and hard to get out of. He sends me to these damn places. There are 2 ways to get in there because the Smoky Mountains are right smack in the way. So I either have to go around the north side and drop straight down to the south, or I have to go around the south side and sweep back up from the south. You know, you can't just drive straight to it because the freaking mountains are in the way. So, yeah. One of those deals. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go back through on the Atlanta route, which is my southern route option, or if I'll come back this way. I'll probably go back the southern route, I think. Although I am not crazy about running I-20 and I-30. It might be better than running I-40. I don't know. They're all heavy truck routes. Whichever way I go, I'm going to be inundated with big trucks. So it's just how the interstates are. Yeah, it's just how it is. I don't like it. I wish they had separate interstates for trucks and then, you know, separate interstates for smaller vehicles, but they don't. It would be nice though. And look what they got out here. They've got a Buc-ee's in Tennessee. 37 miles. So I guess somewhere over by Knoxville. Now, will I stop there? I don't know. I may not. Depends. If I need a break, I might. They're so big, it's such a long hike into their bathrooms. I don't know if it's even worth it, you know, unless you just want to go see it. If it's, you know, they are a curiosity, I will say that. It's insane to think of a convenience store the size of a super Walmart. It's just kind of bizarre. But yeah. So it looks to me like I'm more than halfway between Nashville and Knoxville, I think. From the looks of my GPS little illustration here, there's a little semi truck on it because I'm running in truck mode, so it accounts for my length. So I don't want to get on a road where, you know, I can't haul a 26-foot trailer, which there aren't that many of those roads, but still. My GPS is a Garmin. I used to have a Rand McNally that I liked a lot better, actually, but it died. But I've got it set on truck and trailer, basically. I put in the parameters. I put in the length and everything, my overall length, height, and width, and weight. And then it'll put me on an appropriate route, you know, for all that criteria, which in this case is minimal. I'm basically driving a pickup truck, pulling a 26-foot trailer, so, you know, it's not that not that big of a deal. But on my GPS, it shows as a little semi-truck icon, because they don't have a pickup truck pulling a trailer icon. They've got a car icon and a semi-icon. Well, when I've got it in truck mode, that's the icon it uses. So it's kind of funny, because it's this giant semi-truck that's like almost as long as the distance between Nashville and Knoxville on the GPS screen. That's a big truck. Big truck. This kind of cracks me up. Of course, a lot of stupid stuff cracks me up anyway, so, you know. I'll own that, because it's true. I have a doofy sense of humor, I think. Cookville and Sparta, $3.49 on the fuel. So that's okay. When I have to fill up again, maybe I can get it cheap like that. That's pretty good. The cheapest I've bought fuel in the last month and a half is, I think, $3.23 down in Texas. I haven't seen it that cheap anywhere else. That was just once. That was down at, where the heck was it? See, that was when I went down to Rose City. Might have been on the south side of Tyler, Texas. I think it was. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty sure that's where it was. They actually had a coffee maker in the room, so I made coffee this morning. Not bad. Had a lot worse. Lots worse than that. So I guess I'm going to have rain going back this afternoon. There's a big line of storms out on the other side of Nashville. But it's one of those long, skinny lines, so I can probably get through it pretty quick when I get back over to it, or when it catches up to me, whichever comes first. It doesn't look like it's very wide, and the weather lady in Nashville was saying that it's not a severe thunderstorm threat at all, it's just rain. So it's like, that's good. If I don't have thunderstorms, I probably won't have hail, and I probably won't get a busted windshield. So that's all good. See some mountains there, I think. I don't know how well this translates to video because the camera doesn't see things the way I see them, for sure. You know, the scale isn't right. Because on the video it looks like those mountains are very small and far away, and to me it looks like they're right there and they're pretty big. $97 to Knoxville. I guess I'm not quite halfway there from Nashville yet then. So I'm probably, I don't know, 60 miles, 70 miles east of Nashville now. I think that sounds about right. Falling Water River. That's cool. So I tried doing a little video on yesterday and I just wasn't having much luck. You know, just with a headache, I'm not very good at narrating when I've got a headache. I mostly just whine about having a headache, which is not all that interesting. So today's better so far already. Okay, Buc-ee's, 27 miles. You know, with Buc-ee's, they're interesting, but they don't really have very good coffee or anything to my taste. They've got, you know, fake stuff. Fake coffee machines. That's getting to be typical of a lot of convenience stores anymore. They're getting rid of the big urns where they make 4 or 5 gallons of coffee at a time, and they're doing the 1 cup instant stuff. And I guess I can see it from their point of view. It's probably less maintenance and stuff, but it's not as good a coffee. I mean, it's not even coffee, it's some fake shit. So I've pretty much given up on truck stops for coffee because of that. Every once in a great while I'll come across one that has a decaf machine, you know, and they make pretty good coffee. Like, unfortunately, the truck stop closest to my home does, but I don't stop there to get it very often because I usually make my coffee at home now. So I quit buying the fluffy stuff. So I kicked the fluffy habit. Of course, that stuff's just, I mean, the cappuccino, the fluffy coffee, that's just sugar. Sugar and all kinds of weird chemicals, no doubt. kind of pushing my speed right here because I know I've got a slow truck up here I need to get around. I don't want to get stuck in behind it. These cars are a little more nimble than I am. They can, you know, like this guy here. He's got a little more room to play with than I do. So even though it probably pissed him off, oh, it shouldn't because I'm running 70 and that is the speed limit, but it probably did. It probably pissed him off because he had to, you know, like go around me to keep driving 80 or whatever it is he's driving. But I really didn't want to get jammed up. Testing the air. That's the sound you're hearing, is me opening the window. So last time I was out kind of in this general vicinity, I think I was delivering a trailer to Virginia and I had the red Ford on that trip. So that's been a while. That's been, gosh, I don't know, last fall, I guess. So these are some pretty darn steep hills. That was a steep climb. I've still got an hour and a half before I can call anybody on this trailer light situation. So they're probably not going to open till 8. I think they open at 8, maybe. I'll try them then. Big old rebel flag up there. We are in that territory where we're going to start seeing rebel flags. I'm not of the mind that that's necessarily a bad thing, you know. It's actually the Confederate battle flag is what that is. I think things like that are just symbols and people can take them different ways. You know, if it offends you, I guess it offends you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it doesn't really have a contextual meaning, a negative contextual meaning. It's just a flag, you know. Some people fly them because they like them. Some people fly them because their ancestors fought and died in the Civil War. And, you know, some people fly them because they got different ideas about things. So not everybody flying a rebel flag is, you know, a racist jerk. You can be a Southerner with ancestors who owned slaves and fought in the Civil War and died, and not be a racist, you know, because you're not those people. There seems to be a weird deal going these days where, well, is this whole reparations thing. I mean, I kind of get where people are coming from wanting reparations, but at the same time, it's ridiculous because none of the people living now have ever owned a slave, nor probably 99% of them never would if that was an option, you know, because it's just, we know that it's wrong. In our culture, it's just wrong. In other cultures, people are still enslaved, so, you know, it's just, it's all about your perspective. So, you know, like I said, 99% of people today, if the option was open, would not own another human being because they believe that it's a basically sinful thing to do, you know, to try and own a person. And I believe that. I think it's, you know, a terrible thing. But I've got ancestors who didn't think that way, evidently. But I don't understand how they thought because I don't live in the society, in the time, in the age that they lived. So I can't possibly wrap my brain around the idea of owning another human being. So, I mean, and people today who had ancestors who were owned, who were slaves, who were enslaved people, they have no idea what those people, what, you know, how things were for them, no more than I have any idea how things were for my ancestors. It's not something that gets passed down in the bloodline, okay? It's societal concepts and societal mores that change over time. And that's one of those things that has changed over time. In the United States, we no longer favor the concept of enslaving human beings. There are countries on earth, however, right now who are enslaving human beings, and nobody's talking about them. So all this talk about reparation and stuff, I kind of get it. I get where they're coming from. It was unfair and it was wrong that their ancestors were enslaved. I agree with that, 100%. But I don't think that entitles these people to put a burden on other people who are innocent of any wrongdoing. I mean, I certainly have not, never would own another human being. Most other people in this country feel the same. So I'm not sure why any of us should have to pay money for a sin that we didn't commit to people who the sin was not committed against. So, to me, it's just bizarre. It's a bizarre kind of the sins of the fathers type of thinking, and I just don't believe that. I don't believe in that. I think that's kind of ridiculous. How can you hold me or any other person accountable for the things that their forefathers did? You know, it's just unfair. It's all unfair. I mean, it was unfair that those people were enslaved, you know, 150, 200 years ago. But it's also unfair to basically enslave other people now who are innocent of enslaving anyone, but to enslave them to pay money that, you know, as reparations for that sin that their forefathers committed. I mean, and some of the people paying didn't even have forefathers who committed those sins. So there's no fairness in it. It's a totally unfair concept to begin with because it's illogical. You cannot repair the past. You know, reparations indicate having something repaired, and you cannot repair the past. It is what it is. You can't fix it. You can't change it. I'm sorry, you know. It would be nice if we could wave a magic wand and go back and change things, but it doesn't work that way. What's done is done. But we don't have to do that going forward. That's the repair. We stop doing the bad thing, and we did that. We stopped doing the bad thing in 1863, you know. So, yeah. It's either 63 or 65. Whenever the Emancipation Proclamation was made, I think it might have been 63. It might be 65. I forget. I used to know. Anyway, that was when we repaired the situation. That was the reparation. The people that died fighting on the side of the United States Army against the Confederate States Army, the lives of those people were the reparation. That was the reparation for the sin. And they corrected it in their time, you know. So there's nothing left for us to do with it. We can't do anything about it. It's done. And people bringing this up and trying to make it a thing and getting people wound up thinking they're going to be millionaires, you know, like the city of San Francisco's trying to do. I mean, you know, that's just a cheap political scheme is what that is. It's meaningless. They're not going to do it. They don't have the money to do it. What they're going to do is they're going to run everybody out of San Francisco who's got money, because they're all going to flee to get away from this kind of crazy, you know, appropriation of their income. And, you know, by these cities claiming, well, we need this tax to give, you know, all these people reparations. Well, everybody's just going to leave. Anybody who has the means to leave is going to do it. And the people who are left in San Francisco are going to be the people who don't have the means to escape. You know? And then they might as well just change the name of San Francisco to Alcatraz, because it'll be like a giant prison to all the people who have no way to get out of it. I don't know, it's just, this kind of thinking is just so negative and so detrimental and so destructive. And unfortunately, that's the game these politicians are playing these days, these woke people, you know. And they know that this isn't a cure for that, but they also think that they can control people's voting by giving them stuff. They're bribing people for votes is what they're doing. They're trying to do. So, you know, I guess if it works, that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to do it anyway. They'll make a lot of promises. Who was it? Which president was it? Talking about a mule and 40 acres. It was way back when. You know, that was how they were trying to get people's votes then. If you notice, there are all these white trees. That's a big old dogwood tree right there. There's dogwoods blooming everywhere. I hope you can see these. I know, I've been trying to film you dogwoods for a month now. Every time I go anywhere, I'm trying to film dogwoods. But we got plenty of dogwoods along in here. So you'll see them, I think, if the lighting gets any better. I don't know, this lighting doesn't look too great on the camera. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to wax very political, and I don't think I actually did very much, but that's kind of a cool structure. I don't know that I'd want to live right over the interstate, but, you know, it's neat, kind of a neat building, neat concept. Not my cup of tea, but I'm sure it's someone's. how far from Knoxville we are now. Probably, I don't know, 70, maybe 70 miles. Last time I saw a sign, it was like 97. That's been a while. Here we go. There's a sign. 76. Yeah, so we're making a little bit of time. Crossville, 10 miles. That might be where the Buc-ee's is at. It's Crossville. Oh, these dogwood trees are killing me. They're so pretty. I just love looking at them. I know you're going to get sick of me talking about them. I'm sorry. But I am kind of dogwood crazy. I really seriously am. They're my favorite blooming tree.